Hey there everybody, welcome to Awful Gaming. I'll be your host, Captain Awf, and today we're going to be playing some MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. Personally, a longtime MechWarrior fan. I've been playing the game since the mid-90s, whenever I got MechWarrior 3 for the PC, and I've played just about every game since then. Recently found out MechWarrior 5 was available for console after months of thinking it was a PC exclusive game. So I downloaded it, gave it a try, played several hours into the campaign, and I've loved the experience so far. It's everything I could have hoped for in a modern MechWarrior game. Definitely not disappointed. So we're gonna be giving it a play. For the sake of the channel, we're gonna start a brand new career mode. Career mode is basically like the non-storied version of the game, where you just join a faction, start a mercenary outfit, and do missions. We get to pick a starting house, which basically only determines what mechs we start with and where and when on the star map we begin. When I say when, the default time, if you pick one of the 5 base factions, is the year 3015. If you pick one of the DLC factions, you can start anywhere from 3025 to 3035. So picking a base faction gives you 10 to 20 in-game years worth of time to get caught up. So that's what we're going to do. Going to keep it basic. We're just going to start with House Davion. As far as the political sphere of the game goes, they're not too good, they're not too bad, they just kind of exist, do their own thing. It gives me the option to upload my campaign data, which would give me all my mechs, money, pilots, stuff like that. We don't want to do that. We're going to start a brand new, completely new save for the channel. So here we go.
In 2108, humanity began colonizing the stars. Their reach would eventually span a vast region of space known as the Inner Sphere. During its golden age, under the governance of the Star League, the Inner Sphere experienced unprecedented peace, prosperity, and technological advancement. But with a great rise comes a great fall. Beset by greed and mistrust, humanity splintered. The Star League crumbled. Technological advancement slowed. The great houses, each vying for supremacy, turned on one another, engaging in a series of conflicts known as the Succession Wars. Amidst this chaos, mercenaries became the proxy forces for the great houses. Numerous battlefields sprung up across the Inner Sphere, dominated by hulking war machines known as battle mechs. The year is now 3015, and these steel behemoths have become the tools of the mercenaries' trade. It's a lucrative time, yet one beset with perils of all kinds. Only the most skilled and brave among them will rise to become legend.
That's me. I'm going to rise to become the legend. So yeah, I like the little opening scene there. Explained the story of MechWarrior is that there's basically a bunch of giant galactic political factions that are constantly at war with each other. And at a cursory glance, that's it. That's the plot. You typically play as either somebody from one of the faction's military forces, or as in the case of MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, and also MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries, a mercenary, a merc unit who basically gets hired out to fight for whoever has the most cash to offer. And for right now, that's really all the story we need. So here we go. Welcome to Career Mode. Career Mode is an open-ended, mercenary-focused experience. You're free to travel and explore the inner sphere as you please, running your mercenary company as you see fit. Conflict zones, industrial hubs, quests from Nick's Cavalier's campaign are all accessible in this mode, but have been tuned to better reflect your chosen starting location. Additional career content also awaits you, such as new conflict zones, biomes, mechs, weapons, and equipment, and unique quests. I hate that they have "and" twice at the end there. Like, they should have just commaed between weapons and equipment. Good luck, Commander. Alright, so before we get started, we get to pick a icon and name our mercenary outfit. Just some pretty standard, like, copy-paste logos here. Nothing too spectacular. But anybody that's a fan of giant robot games is going to recognize this one here. We're going to name our mercenary group Last Raven. And that is a homage to my other most favorite giant robot game series, Armored Core. Which would be nice if that series would get a new game. So here we go. We have the main menu. This is where we spend a lot of our time in between missions. This is where we spend all of our time in between missions. You got all the tabs at the top: Home, Battle Mech, Star Map, Equipment, Mech Market, Barracks, and Operations. We're going to be explaining all of those in due process, but we're not going to spend too much time on any one thing here in this first video. So first and foremost, before we get started, we gotta fine-tune our team, our mechs here. This Enforcer and this Spider we're going to keep for now, but these two Locusts, we're not really going to be doing much with. We're going to go ahead and get rid of those. Now, mechs that you have that are equipped, if you want to save any of this equipment or weapons, you know, you have to remove them from the mech before selling them. And removing, changing, or altering equipment in any way takes a certain amount of in-game time. Little trick I've recently learned to bypass that is to move a mech to cold storage. It actually says it right there. Moving your mech to cold storage will strip it of all weapons and equipment. Do you want to continue? Yes. So then all we have to do is go to the cold storage and move them right back to our inventory. And you see they're now undertonned and no valid weapons. They're completely stripped of all their weapons, ammunition, and equipment, and it took 0 in-game days. So we can sell them for a little bit of pocket change. Booyah. So we're going to take that little bit of money that we just made, and we're going to go to the mech market, and we're going to buy ourselves another mech. We have the 2 Locusts that we just sold, plus there's another one, you know, and we don't want a Locust. We got another Spider down here, which we already have one. Spiders are another lightweight mech that are very fast and agile, but unfortunately they don't have a lot of offensive capabilities. They've got 2 medium energy slots, so at most you're going to be running 2 medium lasers, and that's not a lot of punch. This Panther right here is a 35-ton mech, and it comes equipped with a PPC, which is an extremely useful energy weapon. Very, very powerful, disrupts enemy sensors. So on a light mech, to have a gun like that is very beneficial. Then it's got a short-range missile launcher for close engagements. Short-range missiles do considerably more damage than their long-range counterparts. You know, they're just shorter range. So that's who we're going to buy. We're going to buy this Panther. Now, when you buy a mech, you might have noticed that it's not in perfect condition. When it's like buying a used car. So even if you buy a brand new mech right out of the shop, you still have to do a little tweaking before you're actually able to take it out into the field. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get rid of the jump jets. Personally, just not a big fan of jump jets in general. We're going to swap out the SRM4 for, I see they have a Stream SRM4. I wish they had a Stream SRM6, but they don't. So we're going to buy this SRM6 right here at the bottom. You notice it's got those 2 white notches. That is the weapon level. Weapons come in varying degrees from these that have no notches to basically like perfect weapons that have a gold bar instead of notches. The higher the level, it's just a better overall item. They weigh the same, but like right here, you have this SRM-6 level tier 1. It does 14.4 damage, rate of fire of 17.6, and heat of 3.6. But if you go up one tier, all of a sudden you have 15.2 damage, 18.5 rate of fire, and 3.4 heat. So it does more damage, shoots faster, and produces less heat. Also has a little bit more range, and the projectiles themselves move slightly faster. So you basically want to use higher tier weapons if they're available. So we're going to throw that SRM-6 tier 2 on him, and again, this is a very punchy light mech. We have this PPC, which is a long-range energy weapon that's doing 10 damage over a max range of 920 meters. And then we have an SRM-6, which will be doing 15 damage a shot over a range of 283 meters. So this is going to be a very punchy little mech. He's going to be doing a lot of damage for his weight class. The next thing we want to do is max that armor. We want to give him a little bit more survivability. As a matter of fact, we want to move some of this armor points to the front. We're going to try to avoid getting shot in the back, so we want more armor in the front. Going to go to repair all and begin repairs. Like I said, anytime you do any tweaking, any changing to a mech, it costs a certain amount of in-game time and money. So when we go to repair all, you can see every individual itemized thing, every item that's removed, every item that's added, all the repairs, they add up to a total of 91,000 credits in 24 days. So we're going to begin those repairs. We're going to go ahead and tweak our other mechs out a little bit real quick. I've been playing through the campaign, so I kind of have an idea of how I want all my units to be set up. So we're just going to real quick run through the rest of these. We're going to take those jump jets off. Like I said, not a big fan of jump jets. Swap that flamer out for a medium laser. So he does now have 2 medium lasers, which isn't a lot of firepower, but it's better than a flamer. We're going to max his armor out. Now sometimes when you max a mech's armor out, you get an odd number like that. It doesn't round up. When that happens, I like to just take a few points off the head and a few points off the legs until I get it to a rounded ton. And then with whatever space I have left, you throw on another weapon, another heat sink, something like that. So there we go. So the spider's tuned up at the cost of 59,000 credits in 17 days. And now for the Enforcer. This is going to be the mech I'll be piloting. It's a medium mech coming in at 50 tons, so it's considerably bulkier than either of our other 2 mechs. It comes equipped standard with an autocannon 10, which is a good medium, mid-level ballistic weapon. It's got 10 damage, rate of fire of 20 per minute. It only generates 3 heat. A lot of your ballistic weapons, you know, you need ammo for a ballistic weapon, but the trade-off is they generally consume a lot less heat. So, let's see, what can I do to make this guy better? Again, first of all, let's get rid of these jump jets. We're going to get rid of the small laser. So, first things first, let's max our armor. Again, we got the rounded number there, so we're going to take a few points off the head, take a few points off the legs. And now I'm going to give him a medium laser. So now we have a medium laser, large laser, autocannon 10, and I need to assign a few of these points to the front. That's all we'll do for now. Alright. So we'll begin work on him. 30,000 credits, 10 days. Alright. So there we go. This is going to be our starting lineup. We got an Enforcer, a Spider, and a Panther. Not a bad lineup. I mean, just starting out, I'm sure we'll be picking up some better mechs as we progress. So here we go. We have the star map is the next screen that you look at. Here you can see each one of these named dots is actually a planet. So what you want to do is, well, find somewhere to go. Planets like this with the dots aligning them are called industrial zones. There will never be any conflict here. You'll never find any missions to do because these are like no fight zones. The benefit to that is that in industrial zones, repairs and refittings cost less. They actually cost more when you're in a conflict zone. It's not that they cost less here. So if you see when we go over here into this colored bubble where the planets have icons over them, you can see where it says conflict zone, repair cost 25%, repair time 35%. So if we were to try to do any refits or repairs on one of these planets, it would cost us that much more to do it. But that's where all the action takes place. So what you do is you want to find one of these planets that have an icon over them. You push the triangle button and it gives you a rough estimate of what you could expect to find on that planet. Right here we have what's basically a mech Pokedex. It shows you the mechs you could possibly run into, but only ones that you yourself are familiar with. So seeing as how we haven't seen any other mechs yet, we don't have any information on them. So the more missions you do, the more stores you check out, the more mechs you buy, the more of this information will be filled out. The other thing is it shows you who the missions are for and against, and we'll get into that a little bit more whenever we pick a mission. So we have Pascagoula, Sturgis, Anguilla, Latexo, Fremond, Morrill down here, and Princeton. These are all pretty low level conflict zones. A pretty good place to wet our teeth, do some early missions, make some money, get some scrap. So we're going to start off by going right over here to Pascagoula. Now, bottom right hand corner of the screen, as you see as you move from planet to planet and that line gets longer, it actually costs money to travel and accrues a certain amount of time. The farther you travel, the more it costs, the more time it takes. The game has a progressive calendar that continues to move forward as you travel, do repairs, do missions, whatever. And as the years pass and time change and this conflict goes on, you will actually see minor changes to the entire star map. Different factions, these colored orbs, will grow and shrink and change as the factions themselves continue to do battle with each other. So that's a pretty neat gameplay mechanic that you only notice if you really pay attention to. So let's get on our way to Pascagoula and do some missions. As you can see, some time elapsed while we were traveling. It gave us a notification saying some of our mech repairs and refits were completed. So that's that shows you how real in-game time is progressing as you do anything. Pick that up real quick. So here we go. Now we have a new, just real quick, let me check the mech market. Alright, nothing I want. We have a new thing over here. We have contracts. Anytime you're on a planet with missions, you'll see this contracts icon. You click it, and it shows you what contracts are available. When you're doing a contract, you do a contract for one faction against another faction. So in this case, both of these missions are for House Devion, and they're both against House Karita. Now, what happens here is you'll see those little bars underneath their names up there with the red to the left and the green to the right. That is your recognition with that faction. The more missions you do for a faction, the better reputation you build up with them. The more missions you do against a faction, the more bad reputation you build up with them. This affects a lot of things. This affects how much salvage and additional payment you can negotiate for when choosing a mission. This affects how much repairs and buying items in the shop will cost. If you have a better standing with a faction, you will actually receive discounts, like 5, 10, 20% discounts on all purchases. If you have a negative reputation with a faction and you are in their space, then you will end up paying substantially more for equipment, items, and repairs. So since we started with House Devion, we already have the first square of their reputation field. We are +1. We are recognized by House Devion. The offset to that is that we start off with a little bit of negative reputation with House Karita. We are -1, which makes us suspicious to House Karita. If we were to do these missions, we would build up more positive reputation with House Devion and more negative reputation with House Karita, which is fine with me because we started with House Devion and House Karita are kind of dicks, so we're just going to go with that. Here's the negotiation screen that I mentioned. You are allotted a certain amount of negotiation points for each mission. Right now, we're just starting out. We only have 2. As your reputation with a faction increases or decreases, and your overall world recognition, your mercenary outfit level grows, you will be able to negotiate for more and more stuff per mission. C-bill payout is exactly what it sounds like. For every point in that you take, you get a flat increase to your payment. I believe it's 250,000 per point. So doing both of those would give us a total of 500,000 more credits for completing this mission. Salvage shares is probably the most important one later on in the game. When you complete a mission, any weapon, equipment, or mechs left over after the fight, you are allowed to select a certain amount based on how many salvage points you have. The better the weapons or the better the mechs, the more salvage points they cost. So when you get to where you want to start collecting mechs or you want to start taking home a bunch of equipment from any given fight, you need to invest a lot more into salvage shares. Damage coverage is the one that I probably use the least, as in never. What it does, as opposed to a flat C-bill payout, is it gives you damage coverage. It's basically like mission insurance. You get a higher total than if you were to select the C-bill payout, but the thing is, you don't actually get that much. 1 tick of damage coverage gives you 500,000 credits worth of damage coverage. What that does is if your mechs are damaged or weapons and items destroyed, damage coverage will pay out to replace those items. The caveat being that you don't get the total lump sum. It only goes towards repairs. So if you were to do a mission and you only come out with 100,000 credits worth of damage, you would only get 100,000 credits worth of payout out of that 500,000. Whereas if you were to pick the C-bill payout, you would get a straight up 250,000 extra C-bill payout that you could take that 100,000 of repairs out of. So damage coverage is I never use it. I don't even bother with it. Mission airstrike support is exactly what it sounds like, and you don't even get access to those until later levels. For each point in an airstrike you select, you're able to call in that many airstrikes during the mission. So we don't even have access to that one right now. We're not going to bother with it. We're going to go ahead and just click the salvage shares and start the mission.
Heavy weather warning is in effect, Commander. Your visibility and sensor readings will be compromised out there.
We're going to select that Panther that's still being worked on. You can see up there it says mission starts in 4 days. That's because the repairs on this Panther aren't complete yet. We don't have a mech for this guy, so we're just going to go ahead and leave him at the house. Your pilots that you select have different stats. Yourself, your player character does too. Every character has 6 stats. You have ballistic weapons, energy weapons, missile weapons, defense, heat, and evasion. As you or the other pilots use any of those different kind of skills, they will gain experience and increase those skills. Different pilots have different total stats. As you can see, the player character is 7 out of 60. That means I have 7 levels out of a total of 60, which I believe is the highest you can go. These two pilots max out at 22. As you can see, their stats are all pretty low. She's got 2 out of 6 in ballistics, 1 out of 5 in missiles, 1 out of 3 in energy. So they, no matter how much I use them, they have an upper cap. They'll reach a plateau that they'll never get any better than. So as we progress, we will hire better pilots that have higher stat caps until eventually we run into pilots that, like the player character, have a max of 10 in every stat. But we don't really have any other options for right now, so we're going to use these guys. But just don't fall in love with them. We will be replacing all of our starting pilots. So Cecile here and Mr. Lucas, you know, hey, thanks for being here, guys. Just, you know, like, don't get comfy. So anyways, we're going to start the mission. Again, a Mech in your Lance is being refit. Wait 4 days to start the mission. Yes. So 4 days of in-game time have passed, and we're going to start the mission. Alright.
Allied command reports a local checkpoint has incoming hostiles on approach and inadequate forces to deal with incoming armor and mechs. Make contact with the on-site CO and prepare for incoming hostiles.
Okay, first thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to tweak my weapon groups so I know what button fires what weapon. So we have that, we have that. I'm actually going to switch, these two. And then just for shits and giggles, I will put all of them in this bracket, so I have one button that fires all of my weapons at once. That's, in the world of Battle Mech, that's referred to as an alpha strike. Whenever you fire all of your mechs equipped, I don't think I saved that loadout. Whenever you fire all of your mechs equipped weapons in one burst, there we go, saved it that time.
We
The
can't
first,
thank you enough for coming to our aid, Commander. We have a visual on you.
So
Looks like we
this
found a place, Commander.
this mission is a protect the place mission. This little garrison right here, you see it has a total.
Hostile forces just crossed the perimeter, Commander.
It has
They're
a
heading your way.
total health up there. Our objective is to keep the bad guys from doing that much damage to our base. First thing I noticed about this planet is that it's snowing. That's actually a very good thing. Different planets have different weather. It's snowing, so it's going to be colder. That means that our mechs are going to dissipate heat a lot more efficiently than if, say, we were on a fiery volcano planet. Heat is a very important thing. Every weapon you fire generates a certain amount of heat. Larger weapons and energy weapons typically generate considerably more heat than like smaller or ballistic weapons. If you generate too much heat before your mech can dissipate that heat, your mech will overheat and it will shut down, just like the PlayStation will if you generate too much heat.
Additional hostiles have been dispatched. They're heading your way.
Now, of course, the downside to fighting in a snowstorm is that I can't see anything, so we got to get pretty close to these units before we can see them well enough to hit them.
Target received. Engaging.
Look at them, they're going at little spiders. Spiders are, again, you know, don't have the best weapon loadout, but they are fast little boogers.
Your resistance is pulling in more hostiles from the surrounding area.
Target destroyed.
Notice that I'm using my lasers on these guys.
Spider.
That's because I'm trying to save that autocannon ammunition for bigger targets. Ooh, we have a Jenner. Alright, so the enemies have a spider mech and a Jenner mech. So they have their own 2 light mechs. Shouldn't be too much trouble to take out. You can see whatever mech you're targeting or vehicle up in the top right corner of the screen up there. I know, I'm getting them. You can actually see their weapon loadout, and as you damage them, any weapon that you destroy will show up in red on their screen up there. If you can manage to strip an enemy mech of all active weapons and the pilot is unable to fight, they will eject from the mech without any further combat. So that's a cool feature. The downside is you're unable to recover any destroyed weapon or equipment. So if you do a large amount of damage to a mech or vehicle, you're not going to be able to recover as many weapons or heat sinks off of it after the end of the mission. Whereas if you were to take a mech out by, say, a critical headshot and you don't damage any of the weapon or equipment systems, you would be able to salvage a lot more from that mech after the end of the fight. Come on, guy. He's always just on the other side of that wall. I don't want to do a lot of infighting inside the perimeter of this building. I don't want to do too much damage from my own friendly fire, so let's try to get these guys out of here if we can. Again, there's the little locust, like I was talking about. Tiny little mech. And just like you can see, they can't take a lot of punishment. They're very much the Route 1 Pokemon of the MechWarrior game. You see a bunch of them, but they just aren't really much of a threat. Come on.
Well done, Commander. The area is secure.
All right, that was a pretty good first mission right there. We protected the garrison. Only had 10% damage done. It still had 90% health left. Fought a couple light mechs, handful of vehicles. We didn't lose any of our own mechs or pilots. We did pretty good. Alright, so mission complete. We get the mission complete screen. It shows you your reputation progress. We got a little bit of reputation experience. We're still a level 1 mercenary outfit, so we're very much green. We got roughly 300,000 C-bill credits for that. So then we come to the salvage screen. This is what I was talking about before. You can see we have a total of 11 salvage points. We go down this list, we see all these different items. They all cost a different amount of salvage points. It shows you the rough estimate of how much that item would cost if you were to pay C-bills for it. So it gives you like a total C-bill estimate. Now, we have all these weapons. We also have access to some of these mechs right here. We have the Spider, the Locust, and the Jenner. I would love to get that Jenner, but the Jenner costs 14 share points, and we only have a total of 14. That means we cannot get the Jenner. What we can do is we can get this Spider mech, which is what we're going to do. So if you look on the right, it shows you again House Devion. We're recognized. We got plus 10 reputation with House Devion, and we got minus 8 reputation with House Karita. So we're that much closer to having a better standing with Devion and having a worse standing with House Karita. Screw House Karita, so you know we're okay with that. And there you go. You can see where we got a little bit of experience in all of our skills. The player character leveled up his evasion skill, which means enemy mechs will have a harder time hitting him with attacks. The other two mechs got a little bit there in energy weapons and also evasion. As your skills increase, you get better with that thing. If you say increase your energy weapon skill, you will do slightly more damage with the energy weapons. They'll build up slightly less heat. If you get better with your armor skill, you will take less damage from a direct impact. You know, the heat increases your heat dissipation, heat management, stuff like that. So I mean, it's RPG light. where the more you do something, the better you get at it. But yeah, there we go. That's it. That's our first mission. We're gonna want to go. There's the spider we salvaged. As you can see, he's not in the best condition. He's kind of beat up there. Now, this spider mech, as opposed to the other spider mech, here's one more thing I'm going to cover real quick, and this will be the last lesson for the first mission, is you can see that the mechs have different numerical values to them. We have an SDR, which is the model number, a spider, and then we have the 5D. This one is an SDR 5V. What's the difference? Well, if you go to the loadout screen, or you can actually tell just from looking at the mech, this mech has two medium energy weapons slots, but one is in the torso and one is in the right arm. You can see on the mech itself, you can see the little square with the blue lens. That's our medium lasers. We have one in the torso, one on that right arm. If we were to go to this mech, which is the same mech as far as model goes, it's a spider mech, but both of its energy weapon slots are in the center torso, meaning if this mech were to lose both of its arms in combat, it would still have both of its weapons. So that's not necessarily like, you know, like a super, it makes this mech just so much better than that other one. Oh, what am I doing? I don't want to strip that. Yeah, let's exit out of there. But it is just a minor difference. Later on in the game, you'll start finding different variants of different mechs. Like some mechs will have a ballistic weapon slot where you can have a mech of the same type that might, say, have a energy weapon slot. So different models of the same mechs can be loaded out slightly differently. That way you can just kind of fine-tune and create your own, like, personal customized what works for you mech. So let's sell this guy right here. Make a little bit of money off of him. And what you want to do in between each mission is make sure to repair all of your mechs. Repairs do not happen automatically. It's an embarrassing amount of times that I finished a mission, forgot to repair my mechs, started the next mission, and went, oh, I didn't repair my mech. So you want to go over here to repair all. You want to repair all, and then you have to push square to begin the refit process. If you just hit repair all and exit the menu, it will not begin repairing the mech. You have to select repair all, and you can see the damaged parts up here where the numbers are indicated in red. We select repair all, and then we push square. The more damage you accrue, the longer and more expensive the repairs will take. Luckily, none of our mechs lost any parts or weapons or equipment, so the repairs pretty much take less than a week. So they're all being refitted. So there we have it. Started our mercenary outfit. Ran a first mission, was very successful, made a little bit of money. We're doing good. We're gonna button it up right here. That's gonna be it for the first video. When we record again, we'll try to do a few more missions. I'll explain a few more things. I just don't want to spend too much time talking about stuff in the first video. Everybody gets bored, nobody wants to watch. It's a giant robot game. You're here to see me blow stuff up, not talk about politics and technical crap. So thanks for watching. Hopefully see you all next time, and have a good day.